just a tattooed jerk who works at a shit plant. It makes me laugh how many times I heard some version of this from Carl. He would say something like this when we were stuck diagnosing a problem with a bike I had asked him to help on. He definitely uttered this when we talked about his plan to add a garage to his house, and I definitely questioned how he was going to do it. And I can still see the makings of a smile in the corner of his mouth as he said this after being complimented for looking sharp, all dressed up for some event with Lacey. So I guess it's fair to say Carl was a humble guy. And you didn't have to spend a ton of time with Carl to know him. Carl was simple, and I mean that in the best of ways. In a world that tangles itself up with complexity, in a society filled with people that strive to be a complicated mix of everything, Carl stuck out like a heavily tattooed sore thumb. It was so obvious that Carl was perfectly comfortable being a man focused on a few precious things. On that short list of things, Carl invested himself fully. We can plainly see his passion and dedication for racing and the community in which he raced. But it's harder, whether it's in pictures or words, to explain the passion you could feel when you went to see a great show with Carl, and the dedication he had to building an amazing life with his wife Lacey as they would goof around at the motocross track together. How can you try to explain the way he loved his dogs, or the fact that you could always count on him to show up if you were a friend in need? There are a million moments I can picture that don't look anything like that badass boy racer that he wanted everyone to think he was. Rather, those moments looked like effortless laughter. They looked like an honest opinion without any sugar coating. They looked like a guy so comfortable in his own skin that he instantly made others feel more comfortable. In all the memories I have of my friend Carl, not one of them makes me think of a tattooed jerk who worked in a ship plant. Carl, I'm so proud and lucky to have called you my friend. And I look at this amazing group of people gathered here, and I hope you know that each and every one of us is better for having known you. You, Carl, you humble, simple, extraordinary, tattooed jerk.
Crappy Carl, hot Carl, 2 cups Carl. That's not a good one. And ship plant Carl. I met Carl probably when he was 16, back on the East Coast in Virginia Beach. We skateboarded together. We went to punk rock shows together. We slam danced together. And we did some pretty bad things together. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Carl had an amazing smile, and he's going to be missed very much. And I think about Carl, and I think about how we used to joke about 13, and we used to joke about Jinx and all these things. And I look at all these people that some I've just met, and we were his family on the East Coast, and he moves to Colorado to work in a doo-doo factory. And I come out here and I meet all his Colorado family and his race family. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people for Carl to call friends. And he was very lucky. In fact, I don't think 13 was anything to do with Carl. I think Carl was lucky. And I think we're all lucky for having known Carl. And to know someone as fantastic and as beautiful and as special as Lacey, and to have such an amazing family of people that mean the world to me, I'm just happy to have been able to call Carl my friend.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? So when I first met Carl, I was his instructor at the race school, and he crashed in the hot lap of the mock race. And he was so upset, you know. And as a general rule, as most everybody knows, if you crash, you typically don't get your license. My predecessor, Sir Mark, we talked, and he gave him his license. He was so happy. But so I started calling Hot Carl, because he was so proud of the fact that he worked at a sheep plant. And so I kind of got a funny story that goes with that. And he comes up to me one day at the racetrack, and I'm sitting in my pit, and he comes in there, and he's got his goofy manner about him, and you know, he's such a big guy, and I'm sitting down, and he says, you know, Brownie, I think I owned up to the nickname you gave me. What is that? He says, because I gambled with a fart and I lost. So I'm standing there looking at him he's wearing his previously soiled leathers. You know, I missed practice. I had to go clean my leathers out. No way, you're kidding me. So then later on, Lacey comes up. She's in my pit, and I don't know if I initiated the conversation or she did. And I don't know what was funnier, Carl standing there, the look on her face describing it. But she says, I had just gotten to the racetrack, and I walk up to our pit, and there's Carl standing there. And I said, did you shit your pants? The look on her face, because she says, well, he was just down there and he couldn't. I said, have you seen Carl shit his pants before? Just no, but he had this look on his face like a little boy that just shit his pants. But I just love the fact that, you know, Carl, he wasn't ashamed at it. He wasn't afraid to admit it. And it was as funny to him as it was to the rest of us, you know. Carl definitely touched me in a lot of ways. I was very proud to know Carl and very proud to have him under myself as an instructor years later, right? And so I love Carl. I love the Sorensens, period. Race face.
Race face.
I'm not really able to say too much about Carl, but the one thing I can say is that he was very grateful for what he was given. The appreciation of being able to come into the race day office the very last day, this last round. He shook the hand of Rick Bickard, and with being sweaty and tired, and seeing him just have a smile on his face and be saying, thank you for doing what you do for the MRA. And that goes for everybody. What small bit you do and what small bit you know of a person, you never know the last time you're going to see them. You never know when it's going to be able to stare you in your face and go, I'm glad I got to see that person or meet that person, just for a glimpse. Because he made an impression on me, just being grateful for those that are around him. And seeing these people here, it would wow him. It would wow anybody. And I'm glad that I got to see this, because the people at the race, they take their lives in their hands. And it's wonderful to see that, to push back that fear, to go, you know, I might be here for a minute, I might be here for a long time, but at least I have been here. And that's what Carl was about, I believe. He took that moment to just be there and to love all that's around him. And I'm grateful that I got to know him in a short time. And the love that I can feel from this crowd today is just so wonderful. But I'm so glad that I got to be able to just witness this. Thank you all.
I'm not going to be able to follow Brownie's story.
You sure?
Not even going to try. I met Carl. He came into the shop at Foothills. Had us do some engine work. And the guy is quite a bit taller than me. So he came in, we do the engine work. I didn't think about it till he shows up to pick it up. Here's this big tattooed guy. And I've got to present him with a bill. Holy shit. So we got through that. We go out to the races. Carl starts coming back. The next time I do work for him, he has race pace on his fingers. This guy's gonna kill me if I don't get it right. Every time he comes in, he has more tattoos. Then we're out at the races and he introduces me to Lacey. This chick's gonna kick my ass. Then I meet his dog. It's like life is gonna be over shortly. What Carl did teach me, if you look around at each other, Carl had this uncanny ability to make friends regardless of ethnic background, economic background, social status, wherever you were from. And that's what I learned from Carl.
There's a lot of people here. Holy moly. I met Carl over 20 years ago. I was talking to Carl's dad yesterday. I was telling him, you know, there's a few of my old friends that I remember the day I met him and the first words he said to me. And I remember the first time I ever met Carl, he walked to me, he was like, "Where'd you get that shirt? Who are you anyway?" And he proceeded to talk my ear off for about an hour. And, you know, he asked for my phone number and that was it, we became friends. He's the type of person that he loved his friends, he loved his family, he loved you hard. If he was your friend, he was your friend. And I'm glad that we got to share a lot of firsts together, some of which I can't mention here because being not appropriate. But I was glad to see some things in his life. I found out I was with him when he found out he was gonna have a son. I was with him when I found out he met Lacey. He was on a trip to New Orleans and he came back. He said, "Rod, I met this girl and she's badass." And a few months later, she came to Virginia to visit, and he was right. Lacey is badass. And I actually work at a ship plant. It's my fault. I got Carl his first job. And we worked together. I actually had the same plant for a few years before he moved out to Colorado. And I just want to say thank you to Carl's parents for raising such an amazing son. Woo-hoo. And for giving me a friend for so long.
I'm a friend of Carl's from his hometown as well. I've known Carl for 20 plus years, and I just can't tell you how much it comforts me to see the amount of people here and the amount of people that he's touched, just like he touched me those many years ago. I don't have any brothers, and Carl would be one of the closest people that I could consider a brother. We've been through so many good times, so many bad times. And it's just unbelievable that this is going on. But I was with Carl when he started riding, when the seed was planted pretty much. And knowing Carl, if you knew Carl as close as we did, he was a very persistent person. Whatever he did, you pretty much had to do as well. So, needless to say, when I first got my motorcycle, I don't think I had it a day before he was trying to talk me into buying some leathers and going to the track with him. Eventually I did, of course, because that's just the way he is. And the competition between us just grew, obviously friendly, but he was always my benchmark. He was the one when I first started riding with that he was the one that I needed to catch. Obviously that's not the right mindset, but I was so happy the day that I did get past him. I remember the turn, I remember the track, everything. And then, of course, come to find out, I come back and he low-sided, and that's how I got past him. So, yeah, my sense of achievement didn't last too long. But Carl just had this infectious personality. His laugh, we could laugh about the stupidest things for I don't know how long. Hours, days, call each other on the phone weeks later and still laugh about it for an hour after. And he's just going to be sorely missed. I was so fortunate, a buddy of mine as well, to come out here last month and spend some time with him and Lacey, Chris, to do some dirt biking. And it was probably one of the worst trips I'd ever been on as far as logistics and everything going on, everything. It was just so horrible. But I can only look at it as being so fortunate to have that last amount of time with him. And I'll remember that for as long as I live.
Hey, everybody, we're going to keep this open for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. The food is ready. And please feel free to hang out all night out front. There's a slideshow going on, drinks, food, but everybody's welcome to hang out as long as you guys want to.
So anyways, we're up here to talk about when we fell in love with Carl. And so when I met Carl, I was like, hey man, you know, XYZ is on Facebook, look here. And Carl looked at me and he said, fuck Facebook. And I was like, dude, you rock, man. And we have all these people out here and not one Facebook friend, and that is awesome. So the one thing that infatuated me a little bit about Carl is one, the dude was fast on a motorcycle.